The moment we draw a symmetry between the victims of terror and the unintended casualties that result from legitimate military action against the terrorist, the minute that false symmetry is drawn, the terrorists win.
The rocket attacks from terrorist organizations inside Gaza on Israeli cities and towns must end, and a broader calm restored. The goal must be a durable outcome that promotes regional stability and advances the security and legitimate aspirations of Israelis and Palestinians alike.
Charles, there's quite a PR battle going on here as well.
And the Israelis always end up the ones looking on the wrong side of this because the world media are on the Palestinian side, and the Gaza Palestinians, Hamas, is very adept at the pornography of grief. They are quite useful. They kill civilians on the other side, as terror groups do, but they also invite the killing of their own people as a way to win the propaganda war. That's why they put their weaponry, their rockets and their ammunition under houses, under schools, under hospitals, and under mosques. They know the Israelis have to attack the weapons, and that inevitably, despite the incredible scrupulousness and skill with which Israel targets its attacks, there's always going to be a rocket that will go awry, and then they're going to be able to show all that on television. But it seems to me that on the larger strategic issue, I'm not as optimistic as my colleagues are on the Egyptian role. Morsi has been inciting his people against Israel, and the president of Turkey has now been calling it a terrorist state. So they are isolating Israel rhetorically. The reason that Morsi at least is talking about working on a ceasefire is because he's worried about the Congress in the United States cutting off aid, without which the new government he leads is not going to be able to do anything and might collapse there in economic chaos in that country. So it's our role, in fact, to keep him in line by threatening to withdraw our aid on which he lives. But I'm not sure how capable he is, even if he promises to monitor the smuggling of weapons and not allow it into Gaza, even if he says he won't allow that and they will police the border between Egypt and Gaza. I'm not sure he either can or he will. We may get a paper agreement, but I'm not sure it's going to hold at all.
Let's not forget, Ambassador Rice went on each show, every major news network 5 days later, but it wasn't just Ambassador Rice. The president, in his interview with CBS the day following the attack, on Univision, on the David Letterman show, and most troubling, before the United Nations did not call it a terrorist attack.
Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte, and here is Democratic Congressman Representative Adam Schiff. He's a member of the Intelligence Committee over on the House side. He said to anyone who was listening, it was clear from General Petraeus and other intelligence officials who testified last week that the talking points were amended to protect classified sources of information and were not subject to any political spin by the White House or ambassador to the UN. The Office of the Director of National Intelligence has now confirmed this once again, stating that there were no substantive changes made to the talking points after they left the Intelligence Committee.
Again, it's a difference between saying specifically, we know this was an al-Qaeda attack or extremists. The second thing is, they did not say, we know it's al-Qaeda. They said there are indications that it might be al-Qaeda. So again, that's the difference. That's semantics, but to some people, it is now the point of great controversy.
If we're talking about changing a word, al-Qaeda versus extremists, that kind of thing, what about the video? Who included that? That's what we need to know.
There was one word changed, al-Qaeda became extremist. That would almost be irrelevant. It's that the story she told was a false narrative. It was about a mob inspired by a video. And we know, Catherine Harrods reported, the FBI knew 2 days earlier by asking the ones who had been in the Libya embassy, the ones that we evacuated, I mean in the Benghazi consulate. We evacuated them. They were on the scene. They saw what happened. They told the FBI there was no demonstration at all. It's a fiction. So the whole story she told, a demonstration got out of control, extremists or al-Qaeda, who cares, are the ones exploited it, is false. That's what we're asking about. How do you go from the intelligence community telling people on the Friday before that this was a terrorist attack to a completely false story on the Sunday, 2 days later, that it was a video. That's the question. Who changed it? And Clapper is saying he changed a word. That means nothing. First of all, he said last week nobody had any idea who changed anything. So now he's changed his story, and Senator McCain has said exactly that. There was a change in story. But even if it's only, if he can explain that, there's the bigger question. The whole narrative changed.
This has been a Sunfish production.